Hey YNR fans! Waving hand, welcome to YNR Trends, your go-to spot for the juiciest Young and the Restless updates, shocking spoilers, and all the drama you can't stop talking about. From surprise returns to scandalous twists, we break it all down for you, every day. So grab your coffee, hit that subscribe button, and let's dive right into Genoa City's hottest gossip. Kane, the man, the myth, the legend in his own opinion, is undoubtedly the talk of the town these days and the source of many disputes. Kane's great plot, which isn't exactly a secret anymore, may be about to get revealed, as this week's Young and Restless promo suggests. Chelsea is once more torn between Billy and Adam's never-ending argument, and she has concerns. Naturally, Sally wonders what Billy is up to these days since he put her in charge of Abbott communication. You and everyone else will soon find out, so don't worry, Sally. Last week, Lily told Holden the truth about Damien's murder in Nice and the true identity of his former boss, Dumas. Daniel seems to have questions for Kane's former right-hand guy after learning the full details of Kane's activities from his mother. Holden, of course, is on high alert. In addition, is Claire going to receive her retribution at last? Last but not least, Claire had already begun to suspect that Kyle was lying about what had transpired with Audra in Nice when she interrupted them at society as Audra was luring the helpless boy into a passionate kiss. Kyle withdrew, and he and Audra gave Claire two sides of the kiss. Claire is ready to reveal to Nate just what type of lady Audra is, so it's time for her to play dirty. According to the most recent Young and Restless spoilers on soaps.com from Monday, August 18th through Friday, August 22nd, Audra, oh dear, Lily and Kane face a speed bump, and Nikki plays mediator. Even if she makes an effort to put Kyle under the bus, it appears that she will be let down, and she is solely responsible for it. See who recommends that the vixen relax in the hot seat by reading on. Holden had always been cautious. He was a man who took it upon himself to keep an eye on everything without showing that he knew more than was appropriate. He was feared and respected in Genoa City in part because of that. However, something had been bothering him lately and wouldn't go away from the back of his mind. His intuition grew stronger each time he saw Audra, each time he saw her with someone she said was merely a business associate. The pieces of this particular puzzle were beginning to fit together in front of him, and it wasn't a good picture. He wasn't the type of man to draw judgments without evidence. He had witnessed far too many plans fail, too many people who believed they were unbeatable only to be severely humbled. Holden was secretly starting to worry that Audra was headed in the same direction and that her demise would be a messy, well-publicized, and memorable one. Little half-sentences at society, private discussions behind closed doors at Newman Media, and the strange silence that descended over a room as Holden entered were all the beginnings of it. He was aware of it. His aptitude to perceive things was underestimated by others. They were unaware that Holden lived on quiet since it allowed him to listen and pick up on the things that people were frantically trying to conceal. And all of a sudden, Audra was a bit too flawless, with her flawlessly manicured grins and confidently clicking heels on marble floors. Her composure felt practiced, her stories didn't quite go together, and her justifications came too readily. Holden trusted his instincts, which were telling him that she was concealing something significant. But for a man like Holden, suspicion was insufficient. He set out to find proof because he desired it. He found himself loitering close to Newman Media late one evening, after the majority of Genoa City had fled to the safety of their homes. Even though the building was silent, there was still light coming from a single office. He was aware that Audra owned it. He could see her pacing through the glass walls, her phone pressed firmly to her ear, her face guarded and sharp, the type of expression you wear when you're not sure if the person on the other end of the line is trustworthy. Holden remained in the back, observing her movements, the way her jaw tightened as she listened, and the abrupt jerk of her hand as she objected. Not all of it was business. He was able to distinguish between a conspiracy and a negotiation. Additionally, this was a conspiracy. Audra, meantime, had always taken pride in her ability to control the pandemonium around her, even while she was juggling more than most people could manage. She wasn't going to give up power easily because it was her drug. She had fought her way into the inner ring of Genoa City, tying herself to the proper people and forming alliances with influential people who could provide her with possibilities and safety. However, the higher she rose, the more enemies she made, and Audra started to feel that retribution was coming closer than she felt comfortable acknowledging. She assured herself that she could manage it and that she would outsmart anyone stupid enough to pursue her, but she had failed to account for Holden's insatiable curiosity. He was dangerous because he wasn't ostentatious about it. He refrained from accusing her or forcing her into a defensive position. Rather, he observed, waited, and gathered. Audra also detested being picked on. Every time they saw each other, the tension between them grew. On the surface, Holden's inquiries appeared innocuous enough, casual, even courteous, but Audra was aware of their true nature. He was putting her to the test by comparing her responses to his prior knowledge. And every time she responded, she could feel the imperceptible barriers getting slightly closer. However, she kept her perspiration hidden from him. She stepped up, telling herself that convincing performance was frequently the greatest defense. She could turn the tables and make Holden appear to have something to conceal if she could maintain her story and keep him at bay long enough. She had a plan. She was unaware that Holden had already created the conditions for her to fall apart. Others in Genoa City, whom Audra had trampled underfoot or deceived throughout her ascent, had grown weary of her antics. In the corners of Crimson Lights, whispers of her treachery had begun to circulate, whispered between those who had nothing left to lose by speaking up. Holden was listening, too. He was pulling shadows out into the open that Audra had attempted to bury, making connections between dots that she believed she had obliterated. Her excessive bridge burning was now illuminating Holden's route directly to the truth. The only thing that remained to be determined was Audra's reaction when she recognized that payback wasn't some far-off danger but rather that it was already underway and directly aimed at her. Betrayal, retaliation, and shifting alliances have long been the lifeblood of the young and the restless complex dynamics, but few plotlines have ever been as gripping as Holden's developing suspicions and Audra's approaching reckoning. A fundamental aspect of soap opera drama is the conflict between deceit and trust, and this particular storyline expertly combines psychological strain with the threat of dramatic retaliation. Although Holden's apprehension is not unjustified, his intuition has been refined by years of negotiating Genoa City's perilous social scene. The issue still stands: will he take action before it's too late? Audra, who has long played the game with brutal accuracy, might soon discover that karma is an unavoidable force rather than only a theory. Beneath his conversations, there is a subtle but enduring undercurrent of distrust that Holden harbors. Holden takes a more measured approach than other individuals who flaunt their mistrust. After seeing and piecing together discrepancies, he waits for confirmation before acting. Because of this, he poses a threat to those who undervalue him. His skepticism is a survival mechanism, not paranoia. Subtle hints are revealed to the viewer, such as the way his eyes linger for an excessively convenient moment when, spoiler, gives an explanation, and the momentary hesitancy before accepting an apparently innocuous gesture. Every exchange between Holden and, spoiler, is tense due to these subtleties, which heighten the suspense. Holden's internal battle is what makes his storyline so captivating. Spoiler, he does not wish to be mistrusted. The betrayal is more painful because of the history, possibly even residual affection. The plot is elevated above a straightforward good versus evil dynamic by this emotional richness. Holden is a man battling disillusionment as well as a wronged hero seeking justice. His experience is similar to real-life situations when confidence is damaged gradually over a number of minor, unpleasant insights rather than all at once. The audience can feel the weight of each new piece of information with him because the writers have done a fantastic job of timing this revelation. Conversely, Audra has always operated under the premise that she is always the most intelligent person present. Her biggest asset and deadly weakness is her self-assurance. She has manipulated events for seasons because she thinks she is untouchable. However, pride has a way of making even the most intelligent people blind, and Audra's demise will come from the one factor she never considered, Holden's slow, meticulous dismantling of her plans, not from an external foe she has planned for. The poetic justice of Audra's upcoming retribution is what makes it so beautiful. She has earned a living by taking advantage of other people's vulnerabilities, but suddenly things are changing. Despite the audience's conditioned expectation that she will avoid penalties at the last minute, the story appears to be set up to prevent her from doing so this time. Not only will it be satisfying to watch her deal with the fallout, but it will also be satisfying to see her learn, too late, that she misjudged Holden. The realization that her meticulously planned life is collapsing due to the one person she never considered a true threat will be the moment of reckoning, rather than a big, explosive encounter, though there may undoubtedly be one. The premise that no one is genuinely invincible is explored thematically in this plot. The player who thinks the game is set in her advantage, Audra, is the quintessential untouchable manipulator. Holden, on the other hand, represents the silent observer, the person who realizes that accuracy and patience are just as effective as audacious actions. Their conflict is a philosophical one rather than merely a personal one. And in typical soap opera fashion, the outcome will have an impact on everyone in Genoa City's power system, not just them. Additional dimension is added by the supporting characters that revolve around this main conflict. Third parties with their own ambitions, untrustworthy allies, and innocent bystanders caught in the crossfire all add to the impression that this is a chessboard move rather than only a personal grudge. Every discovery or conflict has wider ramifications because of the writer's deft weaving of side stories that intertwine with the drama of Holden and Audra. The tension must be maintained through dialogue. Holden's politeness serves as a cover for his increasing confidence, and his words frequently have several meanings. Audra, on the other hand, still has a sharp tongue, but her remarks have a new edge, as though she's trying to persuade herself, as much as others, that she still has control. The true drama in their interactions takes place in the subtext, where there is a sense of danger underneath every politeness. The suspense is further increased by the director and cinematography. An eerie atmosphere is created by close-ups of Holden's cunning gaze, the way shadows move across Audra's face at crucial points, and the use of quiet prior to a significant reveal. When Holden is putting things together, the score even slightly changes, with a faint, dissonant note suggesting the instability underneath. The audience is left with a number of unanswered issues as the plot moves closer to its inevitable conclusion. Will Holden construct a more covert kind of retaliation, or will he face, spoiler, head-on? Will Audra's conceit be her downfall, or will she recognize she's been outplayed before it's too late? What will happen to the rest of Genoa City? That is possibly the most interesting question. There is no doubt that there will be harsh retaliation. Every puppet finally breaks its strings, even though Audra has been the puppet master for years. Furthermore, Genoa City's power dynamics might never be the same after everything is said and done. The manipulation's intended target, Lily Winters, would respond according to her emotional state and past interactions with Kane. She can become envious, insecure, or even angry if she still feels something for him after seeing him with Phyllis. But Lily is also a resilient, self-reliant person who has endured many betrayals. She may be able to see through the charade, which could result in a confrontation that reveals the plan and its masterminds, depending on how the deception plays out. Depending on how she reacts, the strategy could either backfire and increase mistrust between the characters, or it could unintentionally bring her closer to Kane during a vulnerable emotional moment. Another level of mystery is added by the involvement of the unidentified boss in this situation. It is necessary to investigate the motivations behind this employer's desire to control Lily's emotions if they are a powerful individual, such as Jack Abbott, Victor Newman, or even a more recent power player. Have they got a personal grudge? Are they trying to undermine her for their own benefit? Or is this a component of a more complex, broader plan? The employer's participation implies that the fictitious romance is connected to corporate intrigue, a recurrent issue in The Young and the Restless, rather than just personal ties. When personal and professional disputes are combined, the stakes are raised and the consequences are more severe when the truth eventually surfaces. In the past, love triangles, misguided intentions, and emotional manipulation have been the mainstays of soap operas. The cliché of a phony relationship intended to arouse jealousy is well worn, but how effectively it is executed determines how effective it is. A nuanced portrayal of Phyllis and Kane's fictitious romance might build tension as viewers wait for Lily or another character to reveal the truth. On the other hand, if the deceit is clear from the beginning, the focus of the drama is on how long the characters can continue to lie before something goes wrong. Such tales revolve around the tension between performance and authenticity. Phyllis and Kane have to hide their actual emotions while selling their relationship effectively, which causes internal struggle at times. It is impossible to overlook the scheme's ethical ramifications. By consenting to trick Kane and control Lily, Phyllis strengthens her reputation as a cunning manipulator and may drive away allies. If willing, Kane's involvement undermines his moral character and casts doubt on his devotion to Lily. The methods erode the genuineness of his love, even if his motives are misguidedly noble, thinking that this will eventually bring them back together, for example. Questions concerning the employer's morals and leadership are raised by their desire to use personal relationships for nefarious ends. Since confidence is hard to regain in Genoa City once it is lost, these moral lapses have long-term effects. This plotline presents several opportunities for development from a narrative standpoint. If the phony relationship is successful in making Lily envious, it may result in a brief reconciliation between her and Kane, only to cause more problems when the lie is exposed. Alternatively, Lily may take revenge and turn the tables on Phyllis and the employer if she finds out too soon. Additionally, the potential for sincere affections to blossom between Phyllis and Kane could complicate the initial plan and introduce an element of uncertainty. Drama is heightened in soap operas, and a phony romance might develop into more serious disputes with other characters, business takeovers, or even illegal plots. This plot's psychological aspects are just as captivating. The fact that Phyllis is willing to commit such a lie illustrates how adaptive and survival-minded her nature is. She may defend her behavior by arguing that it is essential for her professional growth or personal safety, but it is impossible to overlook the psychological costs of upholding a facade. Kane may experience remorse if he is conflicted, particularly if he has feelings for Lily. Lily's resiliency and sense of self-worth would determine how she responded to the inevitable disclosure. Would she come out stronger, or would the betrayal make her more cynical about relationships? Examining the employer's intentions is also necessary. Are they motivated by retaliation, insecurity, or a mistaken sense of their own cunning? This storyline is consistent with the young and the restless heritage of high-stakes business and emotional warfare. Personal and professional lives are closely intertwined in Genoa City, and characters regularly take advantage of their connections. The effectiveness of the false romance trope, which has been used in a variety of ways in the past, hinges on novel developments and compelling character relationships. The backstories of Phyllis, Kane, and Lily are sufficient to make this scenario plausible, and the addition of a strong employer gives it a fresh perspective that keeps it from seeming like a rehashing of earlier stories. In the end, the intriguing narrative topic of whether Phyllis fabricates a romance with Kane in order to help her boss incite Lily's jealousy examines themes of loyalty, deceit, and emotional manipulation. The consequences of such a plot would extend beyond the main protagonists and impact future relationships, commercial transactions, and alliances. This plot would be another exciting episode in the lives of Genoa City's residents in their constantly changing city, where power is the ultimate aim and trust is a scarce resource. The decisions made by the characters will determine whether there is reconciliation, retaliation, or more mayhem. In The Young and the Restless, the drama never really ends.